So here's a little update on everything that's been going on in the past few months. I kind of took a break from doing the YouTube videos just because everything was starting to kind of repeat itself and we weren't really getting anything new. So basically I just didn't want to bore you guys. But I did have a doctor's appointment today, so we did get some new information. So I figured I should just go ahead and share that along before the holiday season, and this way I can just go ahead and update everyone on what's been going on. So I think my last video I did was back in September, but just to recap, I ended up skipping a cycle. So I kind of had to let my body reset a little bit over the summer, and then once my body reset and they induced my period and I got my period, I had the all clear to go ahead and start the shots. So it was around the 1st of September. I started the shots for about 2 weeks, and then at my ultrasound appointment, it was on September 11th, it was a Friday, I went in and I had started bleeding. So the doctor was like, I don't really know why you're bleeding, but it was just light spotting, so they weren't too concerned. I went back that following Monday, and I had been bleeding all through the weekend. So they said, we need to stop doing the shots, don't do any more. Obviously your body's trying to have a cycle, or it's confused because of the medication from inducing, so we're just going to wait an entire cycle. Once your body gets back on track and you have a natural normal cycle on your own, then we can go ahead and start the shots. So that came around mid-October. I started a cycle on my own, which was exciting that I didn't skip another one. So mid-October, we got the A-OK to start another round of shots. So they started me off on, I believe it was like 65 units of the follistem. I didn't really have a response to that, so they bumped me up to the 75 about cycle day 7 or 8. So I did that until cycle day like 15 or 16, and I finally had a response. There was a follicle on my left side, so we went ahead and did the IUI. And unfortunately that was unsuccessful. We didn't really have that much hope for that one, just because they didn't have enough appointment space, I guess, for us to do the collection at the Fertility Institute. So we had to do the collection at home, drive it downtown to Waikiki, which with traffic can be like 45 minutes, even though it's a 6 miles of drive from here. So we do the collection at home and then bring it in. They did the wash, and then from the washing, then we had to bring it back to our doctor for the IUI procedure. So it was about 4 hours from the time that we collected it to the time that the IUI happened, which seems like a very long time to try to keep those swimmers warm, which I think it is at least. So we did the IUI, it didn't work. So here comes the November cycle. I go in for my baseline ultrasound, everything looks normal. There's a tiny little cyst, but he said it wasn't that big, it's nothing to worry about. We can still go ahead and do our next cycle. So I began the shots on, my cycle started on the 16th, so it was the 18th of November. I started this most recent round of shots, and I went in on the following Wednesday, the Wednesday right before Thanksgiving, to see if I was having any kind of a response. They started me off on the higher dose that I had been on, that 75 units, and there was a slight response, is what the physician had told me, that I had an 8 on my left side. So that was pretty exciting that I was having a reaction or a response that soon in my cycle, because I hadn't seen that before. So they upped my dose a little bit more to 83, and she said just come back on Monday after the holiday and we'll hopefully be able to schedule an IUI for Tuesday. So I go back on Monday morning, and meanwhile over the weekend, especially on Sunday, I started to have some really bad left lower side pain, which has always been a sign of ovulation for me. I've had it since I was like 14 or 15, just in the middle of the cycle. I always get really bad cramps on one side or the other, just sharp shooting pains. So I was like, oh my gosh, we missed it. I'm not gonna be able to do an IUI this cycle because I've already ovulated. So I went in on Monday and I saw a different physician who did the ultrasound, and she said, well, I don't see any follicles on either side. You have a bunch of little follicles, but nothing moving forward, nothing big. So all of a sudden that 8 that I had on Wednesday is now vanished. So it was our thought that we had missed the ovulation and hopefully it just happened on our own. So she said, let's go get some blood work done. Let's test your estrogen and your progesterone levels just to see, because that will tell us if your progesterone is low, that means you haven't ovulated yet. And if it's high, then that means that you did and we just missed it, and hopefully everything happened on its own. So I go and get my blood work done, and she calls me back at the end of the day and tells me that my progesterone level is low. So that means I haven't ovulated yet, so let's go ahead and increase your dosage from 83 to 91 and come back on Friday. Hopefully there'll be a response and we can go ahead and do an IUI on Saturday. So my first question was, I'd already been giving myself these shots then for like 15 or 16 days. So we're starting to get to the end of everything I've read has told us that that's pretty much like the cap of when you should stop doing the shots, and if you just didn't have a response, you didn't have a response. So she was like, well, it is a long time to do them, but your only other option really is to stop and just not do anything this cycle. So of course, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. So we did continue on, and then I went back this morning and saw that same doctor, and throughout the week I've had the same side pain. She went ahead and did the ultrasound, and once again there was no response. There's no follicles on either side, just the little pearl necklace around my ovaries, which is a sign of PCOS that I sometimes have, I sometimes don't have. My blood work says I don't have it, but all the signs of my body between the missed periods and the pearls on my ovaries, it all leads to PCOS. So I asked her if it was normal for someone to respond this way to the follistem, and she said no. About 95 to 97% of women who have infertility problems and have to use this medication have a response. So yay me! I'm a part of the 3 or 5% that didn't respond or doesn't respond. So she told me that my ovaries are brittle. I don't really know what that means. From my understanding, and what she kind of explained, was that they're not really sure where to start me on for like the next cycle of my medication, because I had a response when I was only on 75 units, but I didn't have a response to the 91 units this cycle. And so if they start me at 91, they don't want it to be too much and overstimulate me. But if is 91 too low and 100 will be too high, and it's just kind of a guessing game. They don't really know where to go from there. I'm guessing. That's my understanding of it all. So I guess the plan now is for me to just enjoy my winter break from school, take my finals, and she said, doctor's orders were enjoy your vacation, your time off, and drink a whole lot. So that's what I intend to do. I just I'm a little numb to the whole thing. I can laugh about it now because I got all the sad out, as my mom would say earlier. As you can tell, I don't know if you can, but I feel extremely bloated. That's like one of the only side effects I've really had from this follistem, is I feel like I could pop. I'm so bloated. But other than that, I'm just going to take some time off, enjoy my break, and then enjoy the holidays. Once my January cycle starts, we'll go ahead and give it another go. Hopefully just let my body reset. She did tell me to expect a pretty heavy cycle this round just because of all the medication, which is always exciting and something that every woman always looks forward to. So yeah, that's our plan for now, is just to take it day by day. She said that they like to do 6 rounds of shots, with IUI. So since this is technically my 3rd round of shots, I've really only done 1 because the first one and the 3rd one were canceled. So I still have 5 more chances with this, and I did get put on the IVF waiting list a few weeks ago at one of my appointments, so it's about a year of a wait for that, but hopefully I'll be pregnant before then and it won't come to that. So enjoy your holidays and squeeze your babies extra tight and give them lots of hugs and kisses, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful, wonderful holiday season.